Professor Ben. He's back.
Where's my Texas fight song?
Okay, you know what? I was going to do that, but I thought this is kind of nice. It's kind of, getting you into the thing. Besides, you don't know. Maybe somebody out there is not a fan of university. By the way, are you appearing from us? Are you former, where are you, Jupiter? What is this? Where are you?
This is a sunset, or sunrise, I should say. This is a photograph of a sunrise. It's a neutral background.
Okay.
It's designed to be soothing. It's designed to put the focus on me.
Okay, hang on. Have all changed since you hung around. We went to focus on you. All right, Professor.
What percentage of your listeners even remember Welcome Back?
Let me tell you something, Mr. Old Man, just like me. These young kids with their high self-esteem, we're not playing to them. We're talking to old people that need longevity and their hair is falling out. Okay, you got to know who's buying the spots. Got old people here, Ben. All right.
Let's not let this be curmudgeon hour. On the John Curley Show.
No. All right. Now listen. I first of all, you are my favorite guest. You are the associate marketing professor at University of Texas in Austin. But more than that, I count on you to have conversations and kick around ideas. So I sent you a whole bunch of stuff after the assassination of Charlie Kirk, and I thought let's narrow it down and talk sort of upstream, like what is happening in today's culture where young people feel so disconnected from everything, and some fall into sort of a nihilistic view of what's the use of life. And you would also be a good person to talk to about this, because as a professor, I was wondering if you're seeing some of this. So let's start with self-esteem. I sent you the article, and there's a great book that is coming out about it, self-esteem, having too much of it. This thing we published in a couple of weeks. What Happened to Millennials is what the name of the book is. There's 74 million millennials that are out there. And the author tracks from 1986 the infusion of self-esteem, that if we all feel better about ourselves, we'll cut down on crime, everything will be better, and life will be better. And now we see that this generation that had this, I believe, toxic philosophy injected directly into their veins, now suffering from who am I and why is the world so hard and why doesn't anybody recognize how great I am because Barney told me that I deserved a lot of love. Did you any of that bounce off you and go, no, you're completely wrong, or you're seeing some of that?
My perspective, my seat on this is I have a millennial daughter and two Gen Z sons. I teach in an MBA, an undergraduate business program. So I've got Gen Z students, I've got millennial students, and the parents of these millennials and Gen Z are Gen X like myself and baby boomers like you. We are the parents, and we inadvertently raised our children in ways different than we grew up. And one of the statistics I find really striking is in 1970, women's participation in the workforce was in the low 40s, and then it peaked at 60% in 1999. In 1970, women spent an average of 10 hours per week with their children. Now, today, women spend 14 hours per week with their children. So women are working more, they're spending more time in the workplace and spending more time with kids, and they wind up exhausted because of all this time spent with children. And if kids were better off with that extra time, we would probably not be seeing so much of the rise in mental health issues that we see today. But the reality is, for kids, their confidence, their ability to have independence depend upon having unsupervised time, play without parents, without screens. And I don't want to put all that on that one issue, but I feel like we have not served our children well with good intention. The good intention was to parent better, but we actually created this idea that kids are supposed to just feel good, and if they're feeling bad, that's a problem.
Right. So the idea of safety. So the parents came along in the 90s, 80s, 90s, and we were told about, stranger danger. Your kid could end up on a box or on a milk carton. Remember that? They'd have a picture of a kid on there.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. And so then
it was traumatizing. It's like, oh my gosh, I'm at constant risk.
Right. So then you decide, well, I'm going to make things as safe as possible for my kids. So then the safety becomes that I'm not going to let them out of my sight, and the rest of it follows. And then there's going to be helmets helmets and there's knee pads and shoulder pads, bubble wrap generation. And then you even go even further. Well, you better not even ride a bike because it's too dangerous. You're not going to play any sports, stay in the house where I can watch you. So then it starts between the ages of 8 and 12. They say that's the most important time for the child to begin to explore their environment and to be able to adjust to the sort of conflicts within inside that environment. But parents, again, just a generation behind me, felt like, well, I want to do everything I can to protect my child. They're not having 5 kids. So if, they lose 2, that's okay. They still have 3 left. But the idea like, well, we only have 1. We're going to focus everything on this kid. We're going this kid to be farther apart than any other kid, to do even better than any other kid. So I'm going to hire a batting coach. I'm going to get an SAT tutor. I'm going to make sure my kid gets into Harvard because it's a highly competitive world. And I've got to give my kid everything I possibly can. And then now this child goes into a world, a professor, where they have seen that, the white collar job is made fun of, right? But The Office and American Pie, a blue collar job, there's nothing there for them either. You're never going to be able to buy a house that you can afford. But then constantly they're online, they're looking and they see cars they can't buy, houses they'll never afford, and women they'll never be able to bed down. And it's just a constant reminder of them that, where do I fit in this society? There is no place for me.
John, I know from our conversations off the air that you had some events in your childhood that we today might call trauma. I know that I did. I think everybody did. And we have somehow made this focus on an excessive focus on trauma and feelings and insufficient focus on what we really need to be successful in society, which is resilience and flexibility and optimism. Those are the things that carry us forward. And it's not that having resilience and flexibility is easy. It's not, it's hard. But it's like any other skill, it's something that we develop with practice. And when we protect our children from having bad experiences, when we protect our children from bad feelings, and when we really excessively check in with our children about feelings and make feelings the focus, it doesn't communicate a message to the kids, hey, you can be trusted to be successful, independent. It inadvertently, with good intention, builds a dependence, a lack of independence.
So then the feelings take precedent over facts or other people. Then it's a battle of feelings. And then I think this is where, Ben, you get into, well, whose ever feelings are hurt more, then you deserve more attention. And that splits us between the victim, victimizer, oppressed, oppressor, which is a classic Marxism theory of, well, someone's holding you down and they're holding you down and it's not your fault that you're being held down. So you are a victim. And again, the more pain I feel, the more attention I should get. So the further people remove themselves from the rest of society in order to sort of isolate themselves even more. And this gets us around to the alleged assassin of Charlie Kirk. This guy spent most of his time online, like most young men. He was not exactly engaged in sports, didn't have a great community, became more and more insulated. And then they become disconnected from religion and society and culture, sort of the mainstream culture. And then this feeling of, well, what do I do with my life? What's my purpose? And maybe I should seek some higher place, some status. And if I kill someone like Charlie Kirk, well, at least someone will know me.
We have, you talk, the Charlie Wells piece you'd forwarded to me, Millennials Have Too Much Self-Esteem, talks about the valorization of self-esteem. But I also feel like we have valorized victimization at the same time. And that you sort of status goes along with being victimized. And so we were like, well, who's got the worst trauma? Who's got the worst mental health issue? And it puts the focus away from, well, how do I take care of myself? What can I do within society to recognize I'm going to have challenges and overcome those challenges? And excessive time spent on screen does not build that kind of confidence that allows you to do that. Now, I want to be clear, John, the only person responsible for Charlie Kirk's murder, assassination, is Tyler Robinson. I don't blame anybody else other than Tyler Robinson for that. But it's worth talking about how can we do better for our kids that they wind up with the resilience and the flexibility and the optimism that they need to be successful in society.
If you look at some of the other assassinations throughout the history, like take McKinley, most of these were radicalized people that were part of a larger radical movement, right? So there was something behind them pushing them forward. If I take this person out, it's going to have, like just John Wilkes Booth, right? If we can get rid of Lincoln, we can make sure that the South and the North stay separated, and we don't have to worry about what this man is trying to do. I mean, really trying to change the direction of the country. But somebody like Tyler Robinson changed the direction of the country in what other direction?
When most assassins have some kind of ideology or philosophy that they are, at least in their mind, advocating for. And maybe Tyler Robinson had that, I don't know, but the impression one gets from the limited information we have is that Tyler Robinson's complaint was, I'm being exposed to these ideas that I think that are awful that I don't want to hear. And to put a stop to that, I'm going to take a life. And that is that's not revolution. That's just, I don't want to hear that. And this idea that words are violence, which apparently Tyler Robinson maybe took on board, I don't know, but that is not what we should be promoting. We should be promoting the sense that I can hear another perspective, I can hear an idea, I don't agree with that, and my response to speech I don't like is to say, I don't like your speech.
Right.
I think you're wrong.
Right, Ben, if you say to a regular kid, listen, the world is a tough place, and at times you will be hurt, and your feelings will be hurt. But you're better than that. You're tougher than that. And you'll grow from every single one of these things. I remember reading a quote one time. A scar is not on your arm to show where you were injured. A scar shows where you healed. Right? And
exactly. And you could healed.
Right. Right. Yes, you suffered the cut. Yes, you bled. But you know what? You're better. You're stronger for it. I think the disservice is that your feelings are paramount to everything. And if someone has hurt you with words, they have, I mean, it's the beginning of a dire cancer that will take you down. And because we have weakened the character of young people, they're so vulnerable, so fragile that they react in such a way to want to end somebody's life. And I don't know. Here's the big question. You probably won't have an answer, but you have about 2 minutes. How do we begin to change this?
Well, one of the things that I think is positive right now is by having this debate about what we should be doing with our kids. Jonathan Haidt, in his book, The Nervous Generation, articulates 3 very simple steps that we can take that will potentially help with some of this. No cell phones in schools. No social media until age 16. No social media until age 13. No smartphone until age 16 or when you drive. There's no silver bullet here that's going to just wave a wand and all these problems that we have are solved. But there are some things that we can do to address the fact that in terms of screen time today, we see that the average teen is now spending 7 to 9 hours a day on a screen. That means that's not time being built in developing, not time invested in developing social skills. It's not learning how to deal with people, in a real world setting, not time spent with playing with peers, time spent outdoors, time spent away from adult supervision. Those are the experiences for young children, pre-adolescence, and then ultimately adolescence that build the kinds of real confidence that we want our children to have, that belief in themselves that it's not that they're not going to have harm or trauma. We want them to believe whatever life throws at me, I can handle it.
Isn't it ironic? Final word is that people so concerned about stranger danger It's the white van without the windows and the person offering candy. But stranger danger is right there in your kid's hand, and they check it every 1 minute and 20 seconds. Some tough stuff. Professor Ben, we'll take you out with this one right here, because this is, of course, your associate marketing professor from the University of Texas in Austin. Roll Tide.
No, John.
Hook 'em horns. Hook 'em horns.
Hook 'em horns. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ben.